Hello and welcome to the Fun Kids Bookworms podcast. My name is Bex and I love books and I love them so much. I've got 4 for you this week. It is a busy old podcast. We're going to be speaking to the Beano's own HUGH RAINE about Betty and Yeti. We've got Brogan Murphy's brand new, brilliant one, Wildlands. We'll be chatting to MC Grammar and the Adventures of Rap Kid. But first, it's ELENA FAVILLI. Now, she has co-authored the Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls series and it's celebrating its 10th anniversary. So let's find out more. I am joined right now by ELENA FAVILLI, the author and collector of stories for Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Now, I love this series of books so much, and they have kind of gone everywhere. You've got loads of different versions of them now, but am I right in thinking this is a big anniversary for the Goodnight Stories series?
Yes, it is. It's a big one. It's the 10th coming up.
Now, did you imagine all those years ago, 10 years ago, that you would have 10 years worth of stories and books collected?
No, definitely. I couldn't imagine that the books would have become so big and would have really inspired generations of children around the world because they're now translated into more than 50 languages, which is pretty incredible.
It is absolutely massive, and I'm always thrilled to see your books on bookshelves because, well, first of all, if nothing else, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but they look so impressive, don't they?
Well, yeah, the design, I think it's always been a big part of the identity of these books, and the Goodnight Stories collection has become, sort of a staple in, I think, many children's bookstores and children's libraries.
Absolutely.
So, it's always been great to work with also amazing illustrators, female artists from all over the world, and so the portraits that go with the stories are, of course, an essential part of these books.
Yeah, so if we've not read the books before, tell our listeners a little bit about them. We've got stories of loads of inspirational women and it's one a page basically, right?
Yeah. So these books are anthology collections of stories of extraordinary women from the past and the present. So these are real women. So they are real stories of real women who have done incredible things in all possible ways and across all fields. So we have athletes, judges, writers, artists, climbers, astronauts, chefs, any profession that you can think of is represented in these books. So children are really given the opportunity to discover all the different aspects of female talent, and girl especially can really see that they can be anything, right? And that the world is for them to take. So they are big inspirational stories that are really trying to push girls to dream bigger, to have to really believe in themselves and in their talent, in their capacities, because we know that unfortunately girls, since a very young age, they immediately start to believe that they are less capable than boys. And so really these books were born with the intention of counterbalancing that tendency.
Yeah, these books really make you feel like you can do anything and make you feel like nothing is off limits, basically. Is it hard to match a story to an illustrator as well? Because you have a different illustrator for each story, is that right?
Yeah, almost. I think we have a few illustrators who have done more than one portraits, but yeah, typically we try to work with as many illustrators as we can, because of course we want to give we really try to find the right balance between the story and the art, and it's always it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of research, finding the right artist. Sometimes it's someone who comes from a similar geography, or sometimes it's just a style that's more aligned with the type of story that we're telling. So there's a lot of research that goes, behind the artwork.
It is beautiful. And how do you pick the people featured in the book? Because you've got a really great mix of of people who might be more famous, like Greta Thunberg or Oprah, and then you've got people that maybe you've never heard of before.
Yeah, that's always been one of the quintessential traits of these books, that really creating this cool mix of well-known and really not very well-known characters. And then I guess the other criteria were trying to encompass a huge variety of professions, and then really a huge variety of countries and geographies. So we try to be very inclusive and representative of different parts of the world, so that children picking up this book in really literally in any corner of the globe can see somehow a reflection of themselves, of their experience, and they can find these stories more relatable.
So in the new book, this is a big kind of anniversary edition. Have you added extra stories into it?
Oh, yes, I have. There are 22 new stories in addition to the original stories. So now it's more than 100 stories. So some of them, as you said, are featuring famous women like Greta Thunberg, but some of them are featuring also less famous but still very, very remarkable women, like the scientist Katalin Karikó, who from Hungary, who discovered COVID vaccine. So it's been really great just to try and find the women, 22 new stories of women who have blazed trails in their fields over the past decade, because really this was the attempt here was, okay, so what's been going on? It's been 10 years. Who are the women that in the past 10 years have really made a difference, have really made an impact, and that we should add to the original collection. So yeah, we have Michaela Schifrin, the skier, the children's book author Judy Bloom. We have a Spanish soccer forward, Jenny Hermoso. So it's really a very vibrant group of women. And I think children will have fun discovering their stories.
It's a very cool thing to do, to add extra people to the anniversary. Have you ever thought maybe about writing your own story? Have you ever written your own life story to see how it would fit if you were to put it into the book?
No, definitely not. Children sometimes come up to me asking this question because they think that authors have like this amazing life and, adventures and mysterious life. But the reality is that, no, that's typically not the case. I think authors are very normal people, and they don't have particularly exciting lives.
I don't know. I reckon you could probably get something pretty cool in there. Do you have one person in the last 10 years, one person in particular who maybe was your favorite person to find out about, or somebody you had no idea about until you researched them and you thought, wow, this person is incredible?
Oh, yeah, I think there's always so many of them, I have to say. But maybe of this new batch, when I discovered the story of Autumn Potier, who speaks for the rights of Indigenous people. She's from North America, from Canada originally, and she's a big advocate for water and for the protection of water. When I read about her story and her life, yeah, that was a great discovery, and I'm really happy that her story is part of the collection now.
Oh, I can't wait for everybody to read it. It's such a beaut book, and it's such a really important series as well. So thank you for telling us everything about it, Elena, and we can get it in all bookshops now, I imagine.
Yes, you can.
Big thank you to ELENA FAVILLI. Next up, it's MC Grammar and the Adventures of Rap Kid. It's a big, new, fast-paced novel full of rhymes, full of adventure. Let's find out more. So I am joined right now by author MC Grammar. Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Bex? I'm in the house and excited to share all this knowledge about my new book and get people reading.
Yeah, oh my goodness. So I'm going to put it out there. I was gutted because I was invited to your launch party and I couldn't make it. I was very sad. Tell me about the launch party. Was it as exciting as I thought it would be?
Super exciting. There was rapping, there was cake, a lot of cake, There was food and lots of people, and we just celebrated the magic of Rap Kid and the story of Zed.
I need to know first. I will get into the book, but I love cake. What kind of cake was it, please?
It was a cake shaped as a speaker, and on top it had Zed. It had a gold chain as well, and in big gold letters, Rap Kid. It was amazing.
Yes, we love to see it. All right, so yeah, this is to celebrate the adventures of Rap Kid. Tell us about Z.
Well, Z or Zed, depending where you're reading it, is a young boy who loves to rhyme until he gets to school. And at school, people become really nasty to him. And they start to cuss him, really, and say horrible words to him because he likes to rhyme. So he stops rhyming and he stops speaking. And then one day he meets an inspirational teacher called Mr. G, who tells him that those rhymes become raps when you put them to music. And the game changes because there's a rap battle coming to town called the Royal Rap Rumble.
He wants to be the GOAT, right? He wants to be
He wants to be the GOAT. He wants to be the greatest of all time, but it takes some training, some resilience, and also he needs a helping hand from another superstar in the school called SFX, who is a beatboxer.
Now, was this inspired by, I know you're a teacher, and also I imagine you had an inspirational teacher in your life as well. Has it been an amalgamation of lots of different people in your life to make that kind of creative character?
Exactly that. I think Zed is a little bit of me. I love rhyming at school, but I think I'm also a little bit Mr. G because I was a primary school teacher and I loved inspiring kids. And I think I've written this book for all kids out there so they can also feel represented as well. You know, we've got kids from different places all over the world and they all come together to make a magic team. And hopefully, I'm not going to tell you because no spoilers, win the Royal Rap Rumble.
Now, I love the fact that you kind of explain a lot of terms that maybe kids won't know. And also you've got a glossary in the back as well to make sure that people know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, there's a lot of rap vocab in there. There's a lot of street slang and so on, which is cool for the kids and cool for the rappers. But don't worry, you won't be left behind because there is a glossary. There's also a rap name generator at the back where you can create your own rap name. Have you created your rap name?
No, I haven't. Can we do it now?
Yes, we can. Let me just grab a copy of the book right now.
Right,
I'm going to the rap name generator. So your first name is Bex, right?
Yeah,
so So B is big, and box 2. I need to know your surname, Bex. What's your surname?
Lindsay.
So your L is Legend. So you're known as Big Legend. How epic is that as a rapper name? I mean, no pressure. You've got to be pretty good rapping, knowing that you're called Big Legend.
Can we tell all of the Fun Kids presenters and bosses, please, that my name is Big Legend? Because I think they need to know.
I think you should change the name of your show to Big Legend Show on Fun Kids Radio. That would be epic.
Done and done, my friend. Oh my goodness, I love this so much. So when did you start getting into rapping? When was it a thing that you realised you were good at and you enjoyed?
I think I got into rapping around about secondary school. Actually, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, primary school. I loved the Fresh Prince theme.
Nice,
Do you remember the Fresh Prince? No, there's a story, that one there. I love that sort of rhyme scheme there. And then I got into real rap about 14, 15. I started to write my own raps to help me express myself. And then when I became a teacher and I was told I could teach it anyway, I thought, can I use rap to help them remember the facts? And then you got these rap facts and a YouTube channel. And then that got really popular. And then ended up going to America and doing raps on a TV show out there and coming back to the UK. So yeah, the music really changed my whole life along with the reading. Yeah,
because you were on The Ellen Show, right? Which is absolutely massive.
I was on the Ellen Show and This Morning and BBC Breakfast. I've done a lot of them. And the reason why I've always been on these shows is because of books. So if you're looking for a reason or a sign that books change your life, I am that sign right here, right now.
And when you were writing this book, did you take obviously a lot of stories from your own life as well, I imagine?
I did, but also lots of stories from everyone's life. So, for example, there's a bit about Zed and his mum get on most of the time, but some of the time there's little arguments. And Zed sort of talks to the reader and says, "Do you know? Does your mum do this? And can you list some of the things that your mum does?" So here's some. Can I read a greatest hits from his mum's collection? This one is what his mum says to him. "I've told you 1,000,000 times, Zed." And Zed replies, "Really? I mean, she said stuff like 282,657 times, but 1,000,000? Here's another one. 'If you break your leg, don't come running to me, Zed.' And how would I physically do that for a broken leg, Mum?" Things like that, so things to make you laugh that are common between all of us. It's just a bit of banter and a lot of fun. But the book also has options for you to do some writing and some rapping and to use the book as a little bit of a journal as well. So you're going along the journey with Zed to become the GOAT.
Yeah. You also have little asides here and there. So there's a bit where you've translated something into different languages and that kind of thing as well.
Yes, I think that's the word no way. Or we've also got the word sick translated into different languages.
Yeah.
Because if something's sick and you're in Italy, you want to say it as well. Yo, that's sick in Italian. So don't quote me because I haven't actually memorized the book yet. But over to you to read it and find out. There's also lots of different looks. You've got the East Coast rapper, the West Coast rapper, the skater rapper. So you can actually decide the look that you think looks best on Zed as well, which is really exciting too. Oh, and there's rhymes and raps.
I love that you say you're going to memorize it then. Are you going to memorize this whole book and then read it on different tours?
That would be amazing. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if I actually could reel it off? We need a bit of time, but yeah. I know some of the raps though. Can I do one of the raps live?
I'd love it if you did. Yes, please.
Well, one of these raps in here is a rap about. I've got a chicken fajita rap. I've got a rap called The Smelliest Fart in Europe, which is a fun rap as well. I've got a Nando's rap in here as well, if you like Nando's, because Zed is really, really passionate about Nando's. There's raps about chickens. Again, another common theme in the book there. Here we go. Should we do the... I've got a pizza rap. Should we do that one?
Oh, yes, please. Let's do it.
Here it goes. This is a rap about pizza, and it can't be topped. Get it? That's why I cheese the day, because there ain't mushroom at the top. That's right, I need it. Thin crust or deep dish. Want to hear a pizza joke, Bex?
Yes.
Nah, that's cheesy. There we go.
Oh my goodness. It's so much fun. And like writing stuff in rhyme is always going to be exciting and fun, but performing it is like another level, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've actually just done the Young Voices tour for the last 7 weeks, which is the world's biggest choir. We did 32 dates across, I think it was 5 arenas, played the O2 8 times, Manchester, Co-op Arena, Birmingham NEC, Sheffield, Wembley Arena. And it was fantastic bringing all of those rhymes to life in front of thousands and thousands of people every night. So I'm very, very grateful for this experience.
And do you find that audiences and kids that you're speaking to kind of react in a different way when you're rapping with them? Like, does it feel a bit more like immersive?
Yeah, I mean, rap is, very emotive. It gets you going, especially with a good beat as well. And one thing we never, ever negotiate on is the quality of the music. So, for example, my World Book Day song, Wowza, that one is produced by Stormzy's producer. So we make sure we use the best producers in the game to make our music so it feels authentic and like the music you would hear on the radio. So, yeah, I mean, music gets you moving, add the raps, and it gets you hype as well.
That is so cool. Was there any particular word or phrase in the book that you were a bit worried about including that you weren't too sure people would get?
Oh, well, there's quite a few actually, because, some people might think to yourself, oh, you shouldn't really speak like that. But my angle is this, right? If you can walk into a room and speak in a different way, so if you're in a really formal setting that's quite posh and you can talk posh and formal, that's great. That makes you a great communicator. And if you can go into a rap battle and know what the words lit mean, for example, peak, no cap, all of this slang and street words that kids are using and people are using in music, that also makes you a great communicator. So for me, it makes you adaptable and flexible when it comes to communicating. And that's a key in life because you want to get on with as many people as possible, right?
And that's the thing, language changes and you got to go with it, right?
You've got to go with it, especially in a rap battle.
I love this so much.
You've got to have the vocab. You've got to be ready to roll.
When was the last time you were in a rap battle and did you win?
No, my mum beat me actually. It was a rap battle about picking up my clothes off the floor, and I think that was years back. But my kids are good rappers now because they're good readers. So remember, if you want to be a good rapper, you need to be a good reader because that's where you're going to get your words and bars from. So keep reading and rapping.
And am I right in thinking we've got another adventure coming up soon as well in the world of Zed?
Wow. We've got Rap Kid 2 coming very soon. And some kids are asking for it already. They're like, I finished the book. How do we get up to Rap Kid 2? You just have to wait and be patient. In the meantime, read lots of other books. But it's coming, I believe, in the autumn. So October time, 2025 will be Rap Kid 2. I can't tell you what it's about yet, though, because I actually haven't finished the book yet. But it's epic.
Well, thank you so much. I didn't expect this day to end with me rapping about the brain, but here we go. Thank you so much for telling us all about the book, and I'm guessing we can grab it everywhere right now.
Yes, it is everywhere. I've actually been to my local high street this morning. I saw it in Waterstones. I saw it in W.H. Smith. I saw it in The Works. You can get it on Amazon. It's a bestseller, by the way, on Amazon. A bestseller. Of
course it is.
It's everywhere and everywhere. So, thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed Zed's story and you become an excellent rapper too.
Next up on the Fun Kids Bookworms podcast, it's time for an adventure through wild, untamed lands. This is Brogan Murphy's debut novel, Wildlands, and I think you're going to love it. So I am joined right now by author Brogan Murphy. Hey Brogan, how are you going?
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing?
I am so good, thank you. Now, welcome to Fun Kids, because you've never been on Fun Kids before, I don't think.
I haven't. Actually, this is my very first podcast, so I'm very excited.
Oh, no way. Oh, well, okay. I feel like I've got to do a good job now. I feel like I've got to...
Yeah, no pressure, but make it a good one.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, the stress. Okay, well, I will, because we're talking about your wonderful book, Wildlands. Can you tell us, first of all, actually, no, don't tell us anything. First of all, I need to ask you, what made you decide to set it in the future? I read so many books set in the past. I very rarely read a book set in the future.
Oh, interesting. I think it's because I wanted the Wildlands to exist. And I wanted it to be as realistic as possible. So I didn't want it to be set in an imaginary world or an alternative universe or anything. I wanted it to be our Wildlands here and now, but I just needed to move the here and now a little bit into the future so that it could exist. And also I think imagining the future gives you a chance to build the future that you want. So that's felt more exciting to me than sort of having to work with something that already is.
So, yeah, we're in 2050 and we're in a world where the north of England, and I love this because I love looking at the map to begin with because I'm from the north and I was like, oh, which bits have survived? So we're in the north of England, which has basically been rewilded.
Yeah, so the northern England and southern Scotland has been turned into this huge rewilding project where there's sort of wolves and bear and lynx all roaming free with bison and wild boar, and no people, this is the exciting, important bit, no people are allowed in. So obviously I didn't want them to not get to enjoy it at all. So I've made a 10-mile wide buffer zone around the wildlands, all the way around, so people can go to those areas and you can go camping and hiking and bird watching and kind of experience those animals up close and personal, but you just can't go into the core of the project, which is this sort of thousands of square miles of rewilded land. Yeah.
So, yeah, the rewilded land, it takes up quite a good chunk of the country, I have to say.
Apologies if your hometown is gone.
Yeah, I mean, mine is. I was fascinated.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I'm from near Hadrian's Wall.
Okay, yeah, you're right in there.
Yeah. So I'm fed to the wolves. Let's face it. So you've got Astrid and her little sister Indy, and they're on a train journey because you can go up and down.
Yeah. So the only thing that crosses the Wildlands is this high-speed rail line that kind of connects the country, so that runs from Manchester up to Glasgow, and they're sort of halfway across when our story starts, and the train comes to an unexpected stop. And through a series of questionable decisions, they find themselves off the train and then left behind in the wildlands, having to survive and ultimately figure a way out.
So we've got this high-speed railway. The girls are on it. They kind of like go off to collect their phone that they've dropped on the floor. And then suddenly they are in the middle of the wildlands, which is barren. Like there are no people there. It's just animals and plants.
No people, not even the project rangers and the people who work on it, not even the people who work on the trains are allowed in the wildlands. So they're really, no one is going to turn up and help them. They've got to figure this out themselves. It's just them in the wilderness alone, just the two of them.
And you've also got this thread running through with Astrid and her mum and finding out kind of where she's come from as well.
Yes. So Astrid is carrying a secret. So she's found out something a couple of years ago and she hasn't told anyone about it. So she hasn't been able to talk about it. And what it's made her believe is that she's not a part of her family in the way that she thought she was. So she's gone from being the kid who is super proud of her mum because her mum was actually the person who founded the Wildlands in the first place. So Astrid loved the Wildlands, loved her mum, was super proud to be her daughter, be part of all of this. And then since she's found out this secret, she's kind of really gone fully around on all of those feelings. And now she's angry. She's angry at her mum. She blames the wildlands. She blames nature. And she doesn't want to be part of any of it. So the very last place that Astrid wants to be is stranded alone in the middle of the wildlands with her, as she finds her, quite annoying little sister.
Yeah, it is interesting. You have a character straight away who is angry, basically. She's very annoyed at Indy because Indy's got the kind of wide-eyed innocence to her. And Astrid doesn't have that anymore. It feels like it's kind of like seeped away from her.
Yeah, I think Astrid feels like she's lost a lot. And looking at Indy, she feels like Indy still has everything that she's lost. So she finds that quite hard to see and quite hard to be around. And then it comes out as this kind of snappy annoyance. But she loves her sister. I think, dearly loves her. And I think as the story develops, you really see that. It's just that Astrid's struggling. She's angry, but really she's probably quite afraid.
And when you were writing this story, did you have to do lots of research about wildlifing and animals? I feel like, have I read somewhere that you actually have a lot of background in animals and zoology?
Yeah, so I have a degree in zoology. So that's where I first came across the idea of rewilding. I had to write a critical review paper in my third year, and it's the first I'd heard of it. It was a very ambitious idea about creating a huge rewilding park in the Great Plains of North America. And what kind of was amazing to me was just how different it was from anything I'd come across. Everything to do with conservation that I'd learned was all sort of very humans hands-on. We're going to really carefully manage this little bit of woodland, and we're going to have a mowing routine for this bit of grassland so that we can help this one endangered butterfly. And this was just a completely different idea, which was we're going to step back and we're going to let nature recover, and we're going to put back what's missing, and instead of trying to just protect the little bit that we have left, we're going to actually restore it. And it was just such a new idea, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then when George Monbiot's Feral came out, which was about rewilding in Britain, it kind of reignited the whole idea. So I was using that background. It's something I've been passionate about for a long time. And so I did kind of have the training and understanding about the ecology and the animals, but I still had to do an awful lot of research to get it right. But I loved it. I got to spend hours and hours looking up, what exact type of animal would be in this place, and would it be there at that time of year? And I'd have a writing day and be like, I've written 4 words. How is that? How have I been here for 4 hours? But I was like, oh yeah, I was researching that one species of fish and reading all about them, and then working out what they look like and how I'll describe it. And it's only 4 words in the book, but I enjoyed that time. So a lot of research, but really good fun.
I mean, I bet you'd be great in like an animal themed quiz.
As long as it only covers the animals that I researched. I'd have to rig the quiz so that I looked really good and clever.
Was there anything about writing a story in the future that you enjoyed doing as well? Like, was there a certain aspect that you'd made up that you were like, oh, I wish this was real?
I wish the Wildlands was real is my main thing. I wish the whole thing was real. That was the permission that I gave myself, was to write the future in what I think is ambitious but entirely achievable, and therefore believable. I haven't made up any sort of magic or crazy technology that we don't have. It's all possibilities that are real now if we made the choice. So I got to say, okay, what do I want the future to look like in 25 years? It's scary now, I think, for all of us, for kids and for adults, thinking what's the future going to look like. And you can get really hopeless, and you can get sad, and you can get scared. But I think there's another way to look at it as well. What do I want the future to look like? Because I think if we can imagine it, we have a lot more chance that that's the future we'll create. So I think it's important that we look for a positive vision of the future and really pin it down, really be able to imagine it as clearly as possible, because then we've got a chance that we can make that future. So I really enjoyed that, giving myself permission. It's my future. What am I going to put in it?
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, Brogan, thank you so much for telling us about Wildlands. And I'm imagining we can get it in any bookshop, anywhere we go to right now. Is that right?
I hope it's absolutely everywhere. Yeah, any good bookshop, or if you need to order it online, it's there, ready to be read by you.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much for telling us all about it.
Thank you for having me.
Lastly, on today's Bookworms, we've got Hugh Raine's Betty and Yeti. Now, this is a comic strip you might have seen in the Beano. Now, loads of the strips have been put together in one big book, and it's very, very funny indeed. So let's find out more. So I am joined right now by author and illustrator and artist Hugh Raine. How are you doing, Hugh?
Traditional, thank you. Traditional.
All right, I like the sound. That's the first person who's ever said that. Excellent. And you are from one of my favourite establishments ever, the Beano.
Oh, we love the Beano. I loved the Beano growing up.
Me too, big time.
Yeah, so I can't believe I'm writing and drawing for the Beano. If I could tell my 10-year-old self, they wouldn't believe me.
Honestly, I adore the Beano. As a kid, for World Book Day, I used to dress up as Dennis the Menace, so big fan.
See, I think World Book Day came in when I was too old for it, so I never got to dress up as anything from the Beano.
Well, now is your chance. You can do it in the future with your characters in this book.
Well, I've started to see, so there's been the odd Yeti dressing up, and I've seen the odd Betty, knocking around on World Book Day. So that's been really good to see.
I love this. So this is all to celebrate Betty and the Yeti, and your first book in the series, Friends at First Fart. We love it. Tell us about Betty.
Well, Betty's an ordinary girl, a resident of Beano Town, but she's got a little secret. Not so little secret. That secret is that her best friend is a 7-foot tall Yeti who lives with her secretly in her house. Not even her mum and dad know that Yeti is living there. And we just follow their adventures as they crash and bash their way through Beano Town. It's usually Betty's trying to induct Yeti into some element of the human world, and Yeti getting it wrong, misunderstanding and breaking things, or farting and running off. That sort of thing.
I feel like you're really underselling it here. It is really fun because the way that she constantly has to kind of hide Yeti from everybody, and especially from her parents, it is quite a big feat, right?
Yeah, that's the thing I like about Betty, is how resourceful she is. She's really quick thinking. You know, there's always a plan, or there's always a plan B at the very least. Even down to, like, some of my favourite installments are when Dad comes home and there's no time to hide Yeti. So Yeti's hiding in plain sight. Sometimes there's an armchair and Dad sits in it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes there's the door that Yeti's knocked off and Yeti becomes the door, and the hand is the door handle. So Yeti's always hiding in plain sight. It's good fun.
Yeah, I do love how gormless Dad is. There's one where I think that the table they're having tea on is just like on top of a mat, which is on top of Yeti. And Dad's just like, oh yeah, this is a bit weird. This feels a bit different.
Yeah, this table wobblier than usual.
Yeah, it's a classic Dad maneuver. And with all the characters in the book, at the beginning we see Dennis and we see Minnie the Minx. Is it cool to be able to draw those classic Beano characters as well?
Oh yeah, because I'll be honest, I'm not usually allowed to draw Dennis. You know, he's top tier stuff, so it was great to be able to draw him for this. So yeah, so this is a collection of stories from the Beano pages, but some of them are like 9 years old at this stage, so they've been represented for new readers. But at the start of the book, as you say, there's an intro, an 8-page intro, where we get to see how Yeti came to Beano Town, and that includes Dennis and Minnie and Ruby. And so it's really great to draw Dennis and do my own little take on him.
And are you in charge of Betty and the Yeti every week? Are you the person who's pretty much planning out every story they have?
Yes, that's me. I'm the Yeti guy, really. I mean, obviously, I work with the Beano and the editors there, make sure I'm not doing anything silly or wrong. But yeah, it all falls on me. I mean, every now and again, I do get it wrong. Like, for example, I've just written one about a bank holiday, where Yeti hears the words bank holiday and he thinks a bank is where you go to have your holiday. So takes a deck chair and some sand into the bank and tries to have a beach holiday. But when I originally wrote it, I'd set it on Bank Holiday Monday, and obviously the editors told me the bank would be closed. So I don't always get it right, but I managed to write around it, so I've still managed to do that story. So yeah, I work with some great people at Beano headquarters to keep me in check.
I love that you have those checks and balances. I mean, it's who knew? But I mean, of course it is. Who knew the Beano was so on it with you and so, sorted?
They run a tight ship up there. Nothing gets by them.
Yeah, I've heard that about them.
Almost nothing.
Have you ever managed to sneak in a joke that you didn't think would work or didn't think they'd like?
I'm still lamenting the loss of a Puma joke I did. I think it was for the annual. Where because I also wrote for HUGH's Joke Shop, and they were dressing up as a mascot called the Humour Puma, and there's a bit where one of the characters says that they're so scared that they say I'm going to leave before a Puma pants, but that one didn't get past the editors.
That's a shame. That's a good joke. That's a solid one.
I'll tell you, it's all highbrow stuff here. I know many fart puns, I'll tell you.
Honestly, I love it. I also love, you've got like, not throwaway jokes necessarily, but just little jokes that you can only see if you properly do read. I saw one which is like a perfume, I think. Instead of Dolce & Gabbana, you've got Dolce & Banana, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with that one. I was talking to my friend's daughter, Ophelia. How's that for literary reference?
Yeah.
But Ophelia was telling me, she sat down with me one night and she reads Betty and the Yeti, and she was telling me it was the best feedback I've ever received. It was like half an hour of an 8-year-old telling me what she likes, and she likes all the hidden details in the background. She particularly likes it when Betty and the Yeti are up to something and there's something going on behind them. So Betty's hiding a 7-foot Yeti from the world, but even unknown to them, there's other things going on in the background. There might be a UFO, there might be a monster hiding under a bush, things like that. So I like to put those in now and again.
I think Ophelia's right. Genuinely, that's my favourite bits as well, because you kind of feel like you're in a separate secret club when you find something else in the background.
Yeah, that's right. It's just I think kids appreciate that, just giving something to them that only they can see. The characters in the story can't see it, only they can see it. I think they like that. I think that's the kind of thing I used to like as a kid as well. I used to love books like Little Dracula, and the amount of detail in the background in those books. You know, all these hidden little sight gags and things. I used to love poring over those.
I agree. I think, and there's something about it, you just feel like you're getting your money's worth as well, don't you?
Well, yeah. And also it comes down to whether or not I've got the time to draw them in the background. So I've got to take that into account too.
Oh, it's such a cool thing. Now, Betty and the Yeti, I'm assuming there's probably more books to come, right? Because they're going to have loads more adventures.
Well, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I'm actually working on book 3 at the moment.
Oh, wow.
So I see book 2's kind of made an appearance here and there online. I don't know if it's been officially announced yet, but there's book 2 seems to be coming. But yeah, I'm working on book 3 at the moment. So as usual, there's a collection of stories kind of tied to the theme of the book. And then I'm working on an intro for that, working with the editors, doing an intro, a brand new story and chapter artworks and a new map. Every good book needs a map at the front, I think.
I do love the Beano map as well at the front. You've got you've got the suit shop. It's called Is It Suit Yourself, which is just always great.
Yeah, that story features Rufus Hound actually.
Oh, really?
I got in touch with Rufus Hound and I said, Rufus, would you like to appear in the Beano? And Rufus sent me a picture of him in a dapper suit, and I made him the owner of the suit shop.
Oh my goodness, that is perfect.
Yeah, so I like to sneak in those little celebrity cameos now and again. Sometimes I don't tell them. Sometimes I ask them. If I don't hear back from them, then I can just say, "Oh well, it's just someone who looks like you. It's not you."
I feel like Rufus Hound would be well up for doing that kind of thing. I bet he was thrilled.
Oh yes, official resident of Beano Town. I mean,
who wouldn't be? That? Well, Hugh, thank you so much for chatting to us all about it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, that is it from today's Bookworms episode. Big thank you to ELENA FAVILLI, to MC Grammar, to Brogan Murphy, and HUGH RAINE. Lots of different books there for you to check out. If you've enjoyed the podcast, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow wherever it is you get your pods, and I'll see you soon. Bye.